Tonight, dangerous winter weather slamming so much of the country. Millions of us under alert as heavy snow, ice, and the wind intensifies. Look at some of these pileups reported on highways across the Midwest. Icy conditions on the roads creating scary scenes like this one, a semi crashing off an overpass. Intense wind knocking out power for hundreds of thousands. And the threat is not over yet. We are tracking it all. Also tonight, President Trump says the U.S. has knocked out what he calls a big facility in Venezuela. What we're learning about what sounds like a dramatic escalation in that country. President Trump also juggling multiple peace talks at his Mar-a-Lago home in South Florida, meeting face-to-face with the Israeli prime minister and putting out a stark warning for Iran. Earlier, speaking with both Putin and Zelensky about the Russian invasion of Ukraine as the U.S. tries to broker peace. Cruise passengers stranded after their ship got stuck on a coral reef. The effort now to get them home and the investigation into another incident involving the same cruise operator that left an 80-year-old woman dead. Farm tycoon murder? The estranged wife of a powerful farming mogul shot to death in her Arizona home. What we know about the arrest of her husband. And a car spinning out of control. Look at that, dangling off a snowy cliff right there. The bystanders who rushed in to save the couple inside. Plus, was it a good year for movies at the box office? We're taking a look back at the blockbusters and the flops of 2025 and a look at what's coming in 2026. Top Story starts right now. Good evening. I'm Hallie Jackson in for Tom, and we begin tonight with that nasty winter weather pounding millions of people with snow, with ice, with a ton of wind. And the pictures really do tell the story. Look at this dangerous scene in Michigan today. Cars piling up on the interstate, some of them crumpled, some of them stalled. State police there reporting some 24 separate crashes on a major interstate. An icy highway is what led to this fiery scene out in western Michigan. Look, you see that semi-truck just swallowed in flames after sliding off an overpass. And in Minnesota, practically a whiteout on the road, a real travel nightmare for anybody driving home this holiday week. The snow, the ice, those aren't the only threats. Powerful wind is leaving as many as 300,000 people without power at some points today, with huge gusts. Look at this along Lake Erie, just a lot of surf, a lot of waves coming up. This dangerous end-of-the-year storm blasting some 13 million people who still are under winter alerts tonight. Another 95 million are battling those whipping winds. We are tracking it all, starting with our Shaquille Brewster, who starts us off from Chicago.
A dangerous mix of winter weather tonight causing chaos. On Detroit's I-75, a pileup leaving behind this trail of mangled vehicles. State police say more than 59 cars were involved, partially shutting down the highway.
There are multiple vehicles involved.
And this fiery scene in western Michigan. The county sheriff says this semi crashed off an overpass into the road below. The driver was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Heavy snow and wind blanketing the Midwest.
Zero visibility.
At least one person was killed in Iowa. This video shows a state trooper at a 14-car crash. The vehicles directly in front of him are barely visible. Minnesota's governor declaring a snow emergency and authorizing the National Guard to assist crews rescuing stranded motorists. Relentless wind threatening millions, more than 300,000 at one point without power today, from Texas to Ohio and Michigan. Gusts topping 70 miles an hour in Buffalo. Along Lake Erie, this car swallowed by waves. It's the same system that spawned tornadoes across Illinois.
Look at the house. Look at the house.
Ripping roofs off homes, scattering debris across residential neighborhoods. While the high winds and low visibility brought temporary ground stops and more delays to airports.
We should have left a lot earlier.
The travel rush for some turning into a crawl.
There's so many people, the lines are kind of long.
A powerful weather system bringing a brutal end to the year.
Shaq is joining us now from Chicago's O'Hare Airport. And speaking of the travel rush or crawl, Shaq, a lot of folks are going to face some frustrating flights home, huh?
No, that's exactly right, Hallie. And, you know, I've been talking to folks at O'Hare Airport really throughout the day, and there have been many people who have decided to come early. They're downloading their airline apps. They're checking the flight status, but they're still very anxious. And that's because those delays are really mounting really across the country. As of now, according to FlightAware, we're looking at more than 8,000 flight delays across the country. Many of those delays are paired with where you see the messiest weather, including here in Chicago, where nearly half of all flights are leaving late. That's something you're also seeing in Detroit, where 60% of flights are leaving late. And by the way, Hallie, we talked about those tornadoes in the southern part of the state. We just got an update from the National Weather Service. 3 of them were confirmed, one of them having wind speeds of 120 miles an hour. Hallie?
Geez, Shaq Brewster, thank you. That tees us up well for our meteorologist, Bill Karen. So, Bill, you've got tornadoes in part of one state. You've got hurricane-force winds out further east. I mean, the wind is a huge part of this dramatic storm system here.
That's what made it special, Hallie. I mean, we've seen snowstorms this time of year in these areas. That, this wasn't like that impressive snow-wise, but the wind, even people in western New York are like, wow, like this was no joke. That's why we had so many power outages, and it's caused so many problems at the airports. These are the delays right now for arrival delays. The departure delays are what's ridiculous. The planes aren't really even getting to these airports in the Northeast and able to take off in many cases. So it's just been a nightmare for so many people. 87 million people are still under these wind advisories. The highest winds have now arrived. Washington, D.C., Philly, New York, up to Hartford and heading into Boston. So the peak gusts tonight will be in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range in the I-95 corridor. The winds are beginning to come down after what was just a memorable day. 78 was the highest wind gust that we had in Buffalo during the day today. It was just incredible. Wind chills behind this are no joke. This is a return to winter. We had a little bit of a break over Christmas, and now it's just back. 9 in St. Louis. We're at -7 in Minneapolis, and that cold air is going to make it all the way down to areas of Florida as we go through tomorrow morning.
And I don't want to make it sound like the snow is not the story, because it's about to be for people in the Northeast with that lake effect snow, right?
Yeah, the lakes aren't frozen yet, and so we're getting these bands with the cold air coming in, and we've had brief visibility problems down to 0 in areas of the New York State Thruway, also heading down through Cleveland and Erie, and that's where we have numerous crashes that we're dealing with. Now some of the heaviest bands on the New York State Thruway are from Buffalo, heading here just south of Rochester, and this is where it will set up. Areas like Syracuse are expecting 18 to 24 inches as we go throughout tonight and mostly tomorrow, even lasting a little bit into New Year's Eve. And speaking of New Year's Eve, everything quiets down east of the Rockies, but the west has another storm coming in, and this is on the heels of that epic storm last week, and so we'll continue to watch that. So we're ringing in the new year in L.A. in the rain, and we should see that steady rain continuing through midnight and then right through New Year's Day. Notice the rest of the country is just fine for your plans. Cold, as you'd expect this time of year, Hallie, but we'll keep our eyes on L.A. and that flood threat on New Year's Day.
No breaks for our meteorologist, Bill Cairns. Thank you very much for that. To what could be now a major escalation in the president's pressure campaign in Venezuela. In a new interview, President Trump says the U.S. took out what he described as a big facility in Venezuela, and what sounds like the first strike on land after months of these operations at sea, targeting alleged drug traffickers. Listen to what President Trump had to say for yourself.
And we just knocked out, I don't know if you read or you saw, they have a big plant or a big facility where they send where the ships come from. 2 nights ago, we knocked that out. So we hit them very hard.
I want to bring in our senior White House correspondent, Garrett Haake, who's been monitoring all this. What's so interesting here, Garrett, is that the president has been previewing, I think for weeks now, the possibility of a land strike in Venezuela. And now he himself seems to be revealing that that has happened.
And I think it's pretty clear that this was not meant to be revealed, Hallie. Look at the contrast between the boat strike that happened this afternoon, that the administration put a video out then very quickly thereafter, and the way in which reporters had to drag details of this strike out of President Trump today, days after that radio interview first played. Listen to how the president answered some questions today about that strike.
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
There was a major explosion. It's a pretty passive voice way of discussing what is ultimately a serious escalation of what's been this war. Started as a war on drug boats, and now it's kind of turned into sort of an all-purpose pressure campaign against the Venezuelan regime.
And by the way, to your point, kind of cryptic here, too, because, there are questions. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we were listening to that discussion between the president and the Israeli prime minister, sort of very separate from all things related to Venezuela and Mar-a-Lago, it sounded like somebody asked him about the CIA's potential involvement here, and the president kind of dodged on that.
Yeah, it's not clear that this was a strike that was conducted by the military. It may have been conducted by an intelligence agency, by the CIA. The president, again, using his declassification authority, has in the past revealed that he has authorized covert action in Venezuela. That's not normally the way this is done, but it's possible we have, military strike or essentially an intelligence agency doing the same work. Ultimately, Hallie, Congress is going to want to know exactly what happened here. We're already hearing about this from Democrats. A lot of Republicans have been kind of nervously watching developments here to see if and when the president would take this step. As you pointed out, he's been teasing for weeks.
Garrett Haake, thank you very much. That is just part of the busy start to this holiday week for President Trump. As you saw there, he was hosting the Israeli Prime Minister at Mar-a-Lago, where he's spending his holiday weeks in Florida. That's after President Trump talked with Russia's Vladimir Putin on the phone 24 hours after that face-to-face meeting with the Ukrainian leader. But tonight, Russia says Ukrainian drones targeted one of Putin's residences, which really throws a wrench into those peace discussions. Our Gabe Gutierrez is covering it all from South Florida.
Tonight, President Trump issuing an urgent warning amid reports Iran is trying to revive its ballistic missile program.
If they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
In June, Israeli forces struck Iranian military bases and missile defenses, and the U.S. dropped massive bombs on key Iranian nuclear facilities. An advisor to Iran's supreme leader now responding any aggression will receive a strong, immediate response.
Iran may be behaving badly. Usually, where there's smoke, there's fire.
The warning coming as the president hosted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The U.S. pushing for the start of Phase 2 of the fragile Gaza ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. It would include the withdrawal of more Israeli forces, but only if Hamas lays down its weapons.
They're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm, and we'll see how that works out.
Trump also speaking this morning by phone, again with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as the U.S. pushes for a ceasefire in Ukraine.
It was a very productive talk. I mean, we have a few very thorny issues.
After Russian airstrikes targeted Kyiv this weekend, Putin telling Trump Ukrainian drones tried to attack his residence in northwestern Russia overnight, which Ukraine denies.
This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house.
That tone less optimistic than a day earlier when Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for peace talks.
I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close.
Zelensky telling reporters overnight the peace plan that's on the table would include 15 years of protections by other countries against Russia. But he's asking Trump to extend those security guarantees for up to 50 years.
I want to bring in Gabe Gutierrez, who is traveling with President Trump in South Florida. And Gabe, you mentioned that alleged drone strike on one of Putin's residences, which seems all but certain to perhaps complicate those peace talks moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of complications, Hallie. Russia's foreign minister said today that his country's negotiating position will be reconsidered following the incident. President Trump says that he does expect to meet again with Zelensky and European leaders sometime next month in the U.S., but Hallie, any agreement seems much further off than it was 24 hours ago.
Gabe Gutierrez in West Palm, thank you. Also tonight, the Department of Homeland Security says federal agents are now going door to door in Minneapolis, investigating possible child care fraud. As our Julia Ainsley reports, that comes after a viral video posted by a conservative YouTuber reignited interest.
Tonight, the Department of Homeland Security says it is knocking on doors at more than 30 businesses in Minneapolis to root out those that may be collecting taxpayer money fraudulently.
That's just a simple question. Where are the children?
It comes after a viral video made by a right-wing YouTuber reignited interest in the issue. The video posted by Nick Shirley, who identifies himself as an independent journalist, focused on the area's Somali community, and has racked up more than 100 million views. Shirley says he went to 10 child care centers receiving federal and state subsidies and found no children inside. NBC News has reached out to Shirley about the timing of the visits, but he has not responded.
These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars.
While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously.
The Minnesota Commissioner of the Department of Children, Youth and Families said today many of the centers have been investigated previously, and no fraud was uncovered. 8 of the 10 daycare centers featured in the video are still operating and receiving taxpayer subsidies, according to the commissioner.
Which is why our teams are out today making additional unannounced visits to again confirm, are there children in these child care centers.
The video stoking Republican anger towards the state's Democratic governor Tim Walz, who they blame for not doing more to crack down. The governor's office in a statement saying the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. The Justice Department under both Biden and Trump have launched multiple investigations into alleged fraud in Minneapolis. In Washington, FBI Director Kash Patel said his agency has surged personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes.
And Julia is joining us now here on set in Washington. It's good to see you, Julia. There's been a lot to this. What else are we hearing tonight?
Yeah, Hallie, it's important to keep in mind the White House is saying they're laser focused on rooting out fraud in Minneapolis. And in fact, we're seeing an announcement from the Small Business Administration that they're going to pull back loans to Minnesota until this fraud is addressed. But what's important to note is this is not even the first administration that has attempted to take on this problem. The Justice Department under the Biden administration also launched investigations into apparent fraud coming out of Minnesota. These are grants that go out to people who are providing health care, child care, transportation services for non-emergency medical needs. And in many cases, this is money that needs to get out the door quickly. The state says, and the city of Minneapolis says, they're going to these places now to figure out, could it have been that children weren't there because it wasn't a time they were supposed to be open? It is the holidays after all. So I want to hear more about what Minneapolis learns about these child care facilities and if they are indeed part of a larger problem of fraud in the city.
Julia Ainsley, thank you for staying on top of this story and for your reporting on that. Appreciate it. Next, to a chilling murder case right out of a drama series. A powerful farming tycoon arrested, accused of killing his estranged wife, with the case rocking communities from California to Arizona. Steve Patterson has those late-breaking developments.
The magnate of a sprawling multi-million-dollar farming empire is awaiting his fate from a California jail, accused of killing his own wife. Last week, 63-year-old Michael Abadi was arrested for the murder of his estranged wife, Carrie.
It's difficult anytime we lose someone in our community, especially close to the holidays.
Authorities accuse Abadi of traveling nearly 400 miles from California to the couple's property in Arizona's White Mountains, where Carrie was shot and killed. No details on a motive, but the sheriff says they're following leads.
The only thing that's glaring that I think everybody already knows, there's a divorce in place. They weren't able to come to a resolution.
Court documents show Carrie Ann Abadi separated from her husband and filed for divorce in 2023 and had been receiving $5,000 a month in spousal support, but was battling in court for an increase to $30,000 before a judge ruled it should be $6,400. She wrote in a 2024 filing, "I went from living in a beautiful home with a pool in El Centro to living on a homestead in Arizona, struggling to afford the utilities and chopping wood to keep the house warm during the winter." The murder rocking tight-knit Imperial Valley, where the Abadis are among the largest landowners in the region, the family active there for more than a century, growing thousands of acres of crops worth millions. NBC News reached out to an attorney for Michael Abadi, who has yet to respond. Tonight, he is currently awaiting extradition from California to Arizona.
Steve is joining us now from California. Steve, how did officials decide to make Abadi a suspect? Tell us more about this.
Yeah, the sheriff's department in a news conference today saying it was a lot of good old-fashioned detective work, interviews with friends and family and coworkers and associates who developed into leads, which then developed into a timeline. Deputies also mentioned a key piece of technology that was key to the investigation but wouldn't further elaborate. Hallie?
Steve Patterson, thank you very much for reporting on this one. So the search continuing for a missing 19-year-old woman in Texas who's been gone since Christmas Eve. The new video just in from the day she vanished. And the high-end heist captured on camera. Look at this. These masked burglars raiding a fancy store near Chicago, stealing almost everything off the shelves. We've got more on what happened just ahead on Top Story. Tonight, a ruling in the case of the man accused of killing political activist Charlie Kirk. A Utah judge ordering the release of a transcript and audio from a hearing back in October that centered around the clothes that Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, could wear in court. Late today, the court released that transcript with some redactions. And our legal analyst at NBC News, Danny Savalos, has been reading them over for us. Okay, so Danny, talk about the transcript here. And again, this centers, I think, on the optics of what this suspect can wear in court, right?
Exactly right. Both what he's going to wear in pre-trial non-jury court events. That's key here. And also whether or not he'll be shackled during those appearances. And what you learn through the court's discussion with the litigants is that there really isn't a lot of case law on this issue. I have always asked the court to unhook my clients in court, and that's usually done in the jurisdictions in which I practice, but it's just not the same in every courthouse and in every state and jurisdiction. So this is an issue with some limited case law, but it was a very interesting argument as to whether or not in a high-profile case a defendant should be, number one, unshackled if he's safe, and number two, be allowed to wear regular civilian clothes.
So not to get navel-gazing here, but there was also a moment today where the judge denied the media what he called, or what is called, limited party status. That means that outlets could get a formal notice for any court filings. Was that a win for the defense? Was that more procedural? What's your take on that?
This was an indirect win for the defense, and here's what I mean by that. Sometimes defendants want a lot of publicity. Sometimes defense counsel does. Usually they don't. This is one of those usually situations. Defense counsel's made it very clear, including in the transcript, that they want this to be less public rather than more public. So by denying the media that limited party status, the media therefore gets less say. And let's face it, the media is a one-issue party in this case. They want public hearings, they want to photograph it, they want video, they want transparency, which is a good thing. They're single-minded. It just so happens that the media's single-mindedness is directly the opposite of what the defense wants.
Well, so let's talk about the issue of transparency, of cameras, for example, because the defense attorneys here are looking to ban cameras from court ahead of the at the hearings ahead of jury selection, I should say. They say that it could influence potential jurors. Interestingly, Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, has suggested that she wants cameras in court. Where do you see that ending?
It's hard to say because there is some discretion here for a Utah judge. If we were in federal court, for example, a judge has zero discretion. That's because this rule, no cameras, is outlined in a rule of procedure, something a judge simply can't overrule on her or his own. So here, it's always, whenever a judge has discretion, it really is a case-by-case inquiry. But if I were to estimate which way the judge is leaning towards allowing public access to this trial. So if I were to bet, I would say ultimately the defense would mostly lose in their bid to keep this out of the cameras and out of the public image.
Danny Savalos, thank you for that breakdown. Good to see you. Coming up here on the show, more than 100 passengers left stranded at sea when their cruise ship got stuck. Inside the push to try to get them off this boat. Plus, the dramatic rescue on a snowy highway in California. A man jumping into action to help pull a family to safety after they got trapped in their car, dangling off the side of a cliff. Back now with that urgent search for a Texas woman who's been missing since Christmas Eve, with officials warning that this 19-year-old could be in danger. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office tonight releasing this new video from the morning of her disappearance, showing somebody with matching clothes walking just blocks from her home. Following it all for us is NBC's Ryan Chandler. So, Ryan, what else are police saying that they've learned from this new video?
Well, less than we would hope for, Hallie. These two pieces of video are really the only two pieces of evidence that police have been able to produce in the 6 days of this search so far. And they always come with the caveat that they believe that this could be almost, but they can't be sure. The quality of those videos are very grainy. It was dark outside when the sheriff's department says they believe she walked away from her home. The update that we got from the sheriff's department today is essentially that we know not a whole lot more today than we knew on Christmas Eve. For the last 6 days, a massive search team of neighbors, strangers, and law enforcement alike have been scanning this area with drones, with dogs, with volunteers, with mounted patrol. And still, the sheriff said today they found no physical pieces of evidence. That's why they're pleading with the public. Check your doorbell cams, your dash cams, anything that may have caught a glimpse of Almost to piece together a better puzzle of where she may have gone, Hallie.
Ryan, I know that you spoke with her family. What did they tell you about these hours, these days leading up to her disappearance?
Yeah, so the sheriff's department said that they believe she walked away from her home just before 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve. Her mother told me that she woke up at about 8 and assumed that her daughter had gone for a typical morning walk. When she didn't return by 9, she started to grow worried. And then alarm bells really went off when they found her phone left behind and turned off in her bedroom. I want you to listen to a little bit of our conversation with her mother and brother, their emotional pleas to hope that their daughter comes home safe.
I miss her. I miss her with all my heart. And please, please, please came back, because the only place safe is our home, our heart, and we need you.
After that conversation, they told us again today they're just so grateful for this community that has risen up, showing there's still good people in this world, they say, that are keeping them strong. Hallie.
And Ryan, I know that the sheriff might have mentioned something about mental health potentially being a factor. I know we don't know much on that piece of it, but can you share more?
Right. So that comes from another key piece of evidence, that phone. The FBI is now helping in analyzing digital evidence. And the sheriff said that led to signs of depression, a history of suicidal ideation. Now, to be sure, they are not prepared to say tonight, Hallie, that self-harm is a factor here. It is one possibility that they're considering. But that is among a group of many possibilities. They still don't have a concrete theory of the case, but tragically, that is something that they are considering. Hallie.
Ryan Chandler, thank you very much. Now to Top Stories news feed. The man accused of shooting 2 National Guard troops near the White House, making his first federal court appearance in Washington today. Ramanullah Lakanwal is facing a series of charges connected to that attack last month, which left 1 West Virginia National Guard member dead and another seriously hurt. He spoke through an interpreter and was rolled into court in a wheelchair. He did not enter a plea and will remain behind bars until his next court hearing in 2 weeks. Also tonight, a group of masked burglars taken less than 2 minutes to basically clear out a consignment store in the suburbs of Chicago. Look at the surveillance camera video here capturing that heist yesterday. At least 6 people storming the boutique. They're filling up the bags, grabbing stuff off the shelves. The owners say they stole nearly all of their inventory. Police say they're still working to figure out how much everything is worth. And an Air Force sergeant in the right place at the right time, rescuing a family from a very scary car crash in California. Their SUV losing control, flipping onto its side. Look at this, dangling off that embankment there. The man, the Good Samaritan, was driving just behind, saw the crash happen, and told our station, KCRA in Sacramento, why he jumped into action.
I thought about my wife and my daughter, but if there's a family in that car, somebody has to help.
Along with a group of other people, you see them all here. They rush over. He forms a chain. He starts it off, holding the car so that the car doesn't roll, to help rescue the driver, his wife, and their 2 dogs. Just an incredible act of courage on Christmas morning. And the countdown is on to New Year's. But before that happens, some folks who gathered in Times Square today got a bit of an early peek with the confetti test coming down early. Organizers say it's meant to check basically the airworthiness of the confetti, how it floats, how it flies. It's used to ring in 2026. 3,000 pounds of it is set to be released at midnight on New Year's Eve. Remember, you can watch the ball drop Wednesday night right here on NBC. To New Jersey now, where officials say both pilots in a midair helicopter crash have died. Both of those pilots, friends, as investigators try to figure out what could have caused this collision. Our Emily Aketa has the latest.
As investigators try to pinpoint what caused a mid-air collision between 2 helicopters, including this one seen spiraling.
100 Basin Road, 2 helicopters crashed.
Police tonight confirming both pilots, the sole members on board, have died, identifying them as New Jersey residents 71-year-old Michael Greenberg and 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch.
They apparently are friends and fly into the airport, have a meal together at the cafe that's there, and we're leaving together.
Authorities say the experienced pilots took off from Hamilton Municipal Airport outside of Philadelphia Sunday morning and were flying in close proximity before colliding and crash landing 1.5 miles away in a field near Caitlin Collins' home. She rushed to help one of the pilots before he was transported to the hospital.
So I just held his hand and told him everything was going to be okay.
The fiery aftermath sending plumes of smoke into the sky and leaving behind a trail of pieces from the main and tail rotors stretching 100 yards long, according to investigators seen on the ground. The NTSB says both helicopters will be moved from the accident site tomorrow as the agency tries to uncover what led to this staggering scene in South Jersey.
Another witness described to NBC News first hearing a loud snap or explosion and then seeing a helicopter flip upside down and fall to the ground. Then shortly later, he says the second helicopter started to spiral. A preliminary report, Hallie, from the NTSB is expected within a month.
Emily Aketa, thank you. Now to top stories global watch, starting with China conducting live fire military drills today around the island of Taiwan. Beijing releasing some new video showing a mix of air, Navy, missile units. It says the drills are meant to send a warning against separatists and what they call external forces. Coming just over a week after the U.S. announced a $10 billion arms sale to Taiwan. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry says it's now putting its own forces on high alert. A train accident in southern Mexico, killing 13 people, leaving nearly 100 others hurt. Look at this. Crews working to try to clear passengers out of that train. Some of them had to be carried out on stretchers. Officials say the train went off the tracks yesterday as it went around a curve. That crash, stopping traffic along a major rail line that connects the Pacific Ocean with the Gulf of Mexico. And in Spain, at least 3 people were killed in an avalanche near a ski resort. This video shows the aftermath here. You see the helicopters overhead, rescue teams scouring the mountainside. Law enforcement officials say 1 other person was hurt. 2 others managed to get away from the avalanche unharmed. They were apparently all part of a group that was cross-country skiing. And cruise ship passengers getting a rather unwelcome surprise when their ship got stuck off the coast of Papua New Guinea on Saturday. Some 120 people stranded on board. And it's not the first issue this cruise company has faced recently. Our Danielle Hamamjian reports.
A cruise ship packed with passengers now in need of a rescue after running aground off the coast of Papua New Guinea. It happened Saturday. The Australian ship Coral Adventurer getting stuck on a coral reef about 60 miles from the closest major port, according to an NBC News calculation. On board, 80 passengers and 44 crew members. The island nation's maritime authority says there are no injuries reported, nor is there any toxic discharge from the boat in the water. But the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, or the AMSA, says the vessel is not seaworthy due to potential damage sustained during the grounding, detaining the ship today because of potential damage due to failures in the implementation of its safety management system.
Cruise ships do run aground. It's not often.
Local maritime authorities say an attempt to refloat the ship during high tide failed, leading Papua New Guinea authorities to call in a tugboat, which also failed. The Coral Adventurer set sail from Cairns, Australia on December 18th and was scheduled to reach its final stop in Madang, Papua New Guinea by the 30th, running aground about 125 miles from its destination.
The fines may be very severe, depending upon the damage done.
The cost for this 12-night tropical vacation, roughly $9,000, according to the cruise company's website. That company, Coral Expeditions, is already under investigation by the AMSA for a separate incident following the death of an 80-year-old woman in October. The cruise line is accused of leaving a Great Barrier Reef island without Suzanne Reese. Her body found the next day. Officials say she appeared to have fallen from a cliff. NBC News has reached out to the Coral Expeditions and the AMSA for comment and have not yet heard back. And the cruise company telling local media that all those passengers on board will be flown back to Australia. Hallie.
Danielle Hamamjian, thank you. Still to come tonight, 2025 was supposed to be a pretty big year at the box office, but spoiler, that didn't happen. Coming up on Top Story, we'll break down why some theaters are still struggling to bounce back and what you can expect of the movies in the year ahead. Stay with us. Back now with the box office blues, you could call them, for a lot of 2025, because even with some big smash hits this year, theaters have not been able to get people back into seats like before the pandemic. The forecast heading into this year was that domestic ticket revenue, so the amount of money they'd make, could be above $9 billion. Take a look at what we're seeing in the final week of the year. Box office revenue in the U.S. and Canada for 2025 came in, kind of close there at roughly $8.87 billion. Got a last-minute boost from Avatar, the new one, Fire and Ash, and of course Marty Supreme from Timothée Chalamet, out just recently. So maybe close to that $9 billion mark, right around where we saw 2024, but still a big trail from the $11 billion that the box office raked in back before the pandemic in 2019. So to help break down the wins and the misses at theaters this year and what we have to look forward to in 2026, you know we had to bring in Paul Dergarabedian, Comscore senior media analyst. Paul, the guy that I trust with all things movies. Give me a sense here, and I'm so glad you're with us. Thank you. Give me a sense here of sort of your big takeaways for the year that was for Hollywood.
Yeah, this was like a Grateful Dead song. It was like what a long, strange trip it's been for the box office in 2025. And you set it up perfectly. I mean, at the end of the year with the Avatar and Zootopia 2 and Marty Supreme all doing very well, we had a very positive final week of the year because Avatar has been holding on so well. And because audiences went out big for the holiday period, from Christmas Eve through New Year's Eve is always a very big time at the box office. But for me, this year was really about PG-rated movies. Last year, according to our Comscore data, PG movies outgrossed PG-13 for the first time ever. And guess what? They're doing it again. Top 2 movies at the box office, a Minecraft movie and Lilo and Stitch, were the top movies, each bringing in over $424 million at the domestic box office.
It's funny you mentioned the Minecraft movie. You saw that sort of the meme moments driving some of that, the chicken jockey thing that went all sort of viral here. The other thing, this is anecdotal, but I wonder if you're seeing this sort of in the data here. Horror movies feel like they always draw in a crowd, that those tend to have kind of those big splashy moments in theaters. Fair?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because we actually had the biggest year for horror movies ever at the box office in 2025, bringing in $1.4 billion. Sinners, Weapons, the Conjuring movie Last Rites, Black Phone 2, Final Destination, Bloodlines, just some huge movies. And horror movies are just a go-to. People love being scared in that communal environment of the movie theater, and it really paid off big this year in theaters.
You talk about the communal environment, and when you say that, Paul, one thing that I think about is Gen Z. We've done reporting on this generation that, kind of had the pandemic impact. They're on their phones constantly. I mean, we all are, but that they're especially Gen Z, maybe some millennials, but especially that generation, looking for those experiences that they can share with people. Feels like going to the theater is a way to do that.
That's totally what is happening in Gen Z. We thought, a lot of people thought the younger generation would go away from the big screen because they're always on their small screens. But we're seeing in the data that Gen Z loves going to the movies. And with the movie theater becoming a hub of influence where people can talk about, hey, I just, like you said, the chicken jockey situation in theaters for a Minecraft movie, people singing along with Wicked for Good, people talking about how scared they were in the theaters seeing a movie like Weapons. So I just think it's really, the box office is just one component of that. I think going outside of the home to have that fun with people, everybody's in that theater getting ready for that ride they're going to go along for is going to continue in 2026. And I predict that in 26, we will get close to $10 billion perhaps at the domestic box office, with some huge movies on the way.
Oh, well, you can't just leave us hanging on that note. What are the big ones you're looking at? You know that I watch like maybe 1 or 2 movies a year. So what are the movies that I'm going to need to watch next year?
Let's break it down in no particular order. So Toy Story 5, Minions 3, Avengers Doomsday. We've got a new Dune movie, Dune Part 3 with Timothée Chalamet. That'll be out about a year from now. And then, of course, just announced was the new Tom Cruise movie from Alejandro Iñárritu called Digger. And then, of course, Disclosure Day opening in June from Steven Spielberg with Emily Blunt. Super Mario Galaxy is also coming out next year, and Christopher Nolan's Odyssey in 26. If you can't find something like in the movie theater in 26, you're not looking hard enough.
Paul, I'm putting all of them on my list. I'm doing it next year, the year of the movie.
I think you should.
Paul Dergarabedian, we're so glad to have you. Thank you so much for your analysis on all of it. Appreciate that. Still ahead for us tonight, a look back at some of the brightest stories and moments over the past year and the incredible people who have inspired us along the way. And finally tonight, there is good news, because even at a time when we see so many stories of heartbreak, important but difficult stories that need to be shared, we are also seeing stories of hope and triumph. of humor and of love that we also want to share. So along with my colleague, Jose Diaz-Balart, here's our look back at the good news we covered this year and all the incredible people who inspired us.
This year, there were so many special moments that inspired us.
We saw so much support when people needed it most.
It made me feel so good, and it made me feel like cancer is just nothing, and I could get through it for how much support this is for me.
Like the Goshen Township Police Department in Ohio, showing Allie Campbell she wasn't alone during her cancer battle.
Officer, what's the bigger message? Bigger message is we can stand behind someone who needs our support at that point in time, then you stand behind them. We're in this together.
There were heroes like Laura Wiley's care team, spending all night decorating for this mini high school graduation after she missed hers because of a sudden illness. And a massive birthday parade for this little boy as he went through cancer treatment with hundreds of people showing up.
His smile was just ear to ear, just so big. It's overwhelming in the best ways possible because we couldn't do it without our community.
Across the country, educators making a difference and their community saying thank you.
Hundreds of students celebrating custodian Amy Warwick, just named Employee of the Year at her Idaho elementary school.
Sometimes we feel like we're just the custodian, the lunch lady, or something like that, and our school makes us feel special no matter what spot we're at.
There was hug after hug for lunch lady Betty Duquette, retiring after decades at her Massachusetts high school.
Teachers, staff, office workers, and most of all, my family of Aggie students whom I love and care about. I will remember you always.
Sergeant Randy Goodall, a school resource officer in Ohio, overwhelmed with love when his school held this surprise assembly in his honor.
To watch over the kids, help the kids in any way we can, whether it's tie a tennis shoe, try to help fix a scrape on an elbow, or to wipe a tear away. It's not a job, it's a gift.
We saw hard work pay off. From getting into college to scholarships filled with opportunity.
Future doctors heading to medical school.
And a coach's special surprise for a team manager's hard work on the hardwood.
As of tonight,
You're full scholarship.
That power of teamwork lifting all of us to new heights.
Like these kids cheering on Keegan Harrison before he and his mom biked their way to gold for Team USA at the World Transplant Games.
Can you talk a little bit about what that's like for you emotionally?
There are doors that are open no matter what your situation is. There is a way that we can make sure that you feel included, that you are supported in whatever that you want to do.
Move it. And for this coach, cancer wouldn't slow him down. His players and his other team of doctors, nurses, family, and friends showing up for his moment of victory. We saw people giving themselves to others, including the greatest gift of all.
In December 2024, I became your official donor, and I am in this very room waiting for you. Your perfect match, Mandy Harris.
Why are you doing this?
It was like God just kind of pushed me a little bit and said, go ahead and try.
There you go.
We met 10-year-old Stephen Mondak, who stepped up to donate stem cells that saved his dad.
What does it mean to you that it was your son who did that?
You know, there's that old saying that not all heroes wear capes. Well, mine didn't wear a cape. Mine put out a hospital gown and donated 6 million stem cells and saved my life.
And we were there when April Johnson Heath met Valance Sams, the man who got a second chance of life thanks to the heart donated from April's late son.
He just had a big heart. Now he's got a big heart.
There were new beginnings.
A new home for a hero. And the next generation of heroes.
Oh, hi.
Students asking a different kind of question.
Will you
This is something that I've been dreaming of not only my whole life, but since I met Josh.
We wanted to give a quick shout out from a very grateful group of grandkids.
New adventures with friends and family.
For being our biggest fan, our favorite travel buddy, and the queen of making memories.
And checking off that bucket list, making memories to last a lifetime.
I love you.
I love you too.
Moments of triumph and connection.
Inspiring us to show up for others.
And be the best version of ourselves.
All year long.
Thank you so much, as always, for watching Top Story. For Tom Llamas, I'm Hallie Jackson in Washington. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay right there. We've got a lot more news on the way.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.